Hi guys! So I'm officially 34 weeks pregnant. Yes, I made it to 34 weeks pregnant, and the last few weeks have been absolutely hectic. So I'm officially on the last day of 34 weeks, if we go according to the scan date that the doctor is using, and we are getting closer and closer to the end. 25 days until the planned C-section, and who knows if we're going to get there or not. So the last time we spoke, I had a lot of questions about what happens at the hospital, what is the COVID-19 ward, and what is the procedures. And I had not seen my doctor yet, and I was going to see him and ask him. Well, I got a first-hand experience before I even got to him. Baby did try to come early, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few seconds. Let me quickly go through my symptoms, otherwise I'm going to forget. Okay, so at the moment, the last few weeks, symptoms have intensified. I am exhausted, very exhausted. I am getting cramps in my legs, sometimes waking up with cramps. I have seen veins appear on my stomach. They were there before, but now they're very, very obvious to see them. I have gotten huge, absolutely huge. I was at 14 kilograms when I saw the doctor the last time. My scales batteries are flat, and I'm not planning on replacing them because I love food and I'm pregnant and it's locked down and I am working really, really hard. So in the end, I just justify it and I say, you know what, let me eat what I want to as long as it's healthy and in moderation, and we'll worry about the weight once the baby's born. I'm also battling with a little bit of sinus, as you can hear. One of the things that this baby really, really, really likes is dairy products. And the more dairy I drink, the worse my voice and my sinus gets. But I absolutely love the way it tastes. I loved it before I was pregnant. And yes, that's just it's one of the things I'm not willing to give up. It's not one of the things I'm willing to give up. I'm also experiencing some heartburn with some food that I'm eating, which is not great. Pregnancy insomnia as usual, very frequently going to the toilet, really frequently waking up multiple times at night and then battling to fall asleep again, lying awake for a few hours. It's actually quite horrible because you're completely awake. Also, I've experienced a lot of backache, and cramping has become a lot more intense. I'm not sure if it's Braxton Hicks, but I get very, very sore cramps. I actually had a lot of cramping yesterday. Talking about yesterday we were very blessed and we had a drive-by baby shower. Well, when I say we, I mean my sister and I. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I actually really wanted to do a double video with her, but we're both pregnant and we're expecting just one day apart. Yes, one day apart. So I'm going to have this baby on the 2nd of July if the baby waits, and she's going to have hers on the 1st of July if it waits. And both of them are little girls. So I think that they're going to grow up being best friends. It's really blessed, it's a big blessing to have cousins that are the same gender and, people that you can just grow up with that have the same values in life. So I'm just really excited for that. Definitely. And it's her first baby, so I know she's going to be a great mommy. Definitely. Okay, talking about what happened last week. So last week, actually the week before last week, so almost 2 weeks ago, the Sunday evening, I started feeling like a drip. And that tummy ache, like I get every afternoon. I mean, right now I actually have a really sore tummy. I think it's maybe got to do with the wear and tear on my body, or I don't know, but my tummy is really cramping right now. But that evening I was having cramping and it felt like I had some kind of drip. And I thought it was crazy, so I just went to bed early. And the next morning I woke up and my panties were wet. Not weed on them wet, they were just wet. And I called my mother to come and get my daughter, which she did. And I went through to the hospital to go and have it checked out because I was convinced that my waters may have broken. The nurse saw the situation and she also was very convinced that my water had broken. But both of the tests said negative for amniotic fluid. She did say that sometimes, these things do happen and it comes out negative, but it actually is your waters which are leaking. So they admitted me, and I didn't want to be admitted because I said, well, if it's not my waters leaking, it's not the end of the world. But she was like, it could really be. And really came through, and we did the corona test. Oh, yes, this is the whole point of the story. So we were in the corona ward that I was talking about. It's actually part of the maternity ward. So they've got 2 different maternity wards at this hospital that I'm giving birth. The regular one, and then there was like a luxury deluxe version, as they called it, or something like that, across the hallway for people who are willing to pay a little bit extra. But since corona is happening, they're using the deluxe version in order to isolate people who have not yet been tested. So I was freaking out while I was there, and I was thinking, okay, what am I supposed to do here? What if I get corona? And it was a bit scary about, the way that the nurses are dressed, because they're dressed in full on protective clothing. So they've got shields and masks and gloves and long outer covers, those things that they think is like a plastic that they put on their whole body, and even boots, right? And you only get one nurse who looks after you. But it was actually not so bad. The rooms were bigger and it was quite comfortable, and you only deal with one person, the nurse who is the actual nurse that is looking after you, so that they don't spread from person to person to person. And the nurse also brings your food to you, and it was quite good. It was it was more nerve-wracking for Rudy than anyone else, because when he did come, he was allowed to come in. And when he came to have his test done, we both did our corona tests at the same time when they said that they were admitting me. And we got our results within 5 hours. And obviously they were both negative, which we were very, very happy for. But I mean, we go like nowhere. We have contact with almost nobody. The chances of us getting corona or having gotten corona at that point were very, very little. After I got my test results back and Rudy's test results back, they moved me into the normal maternity ward. But just before that happened, the truth, or the moment of truth, happened. I started getting some cramping in my stomach, like I do every afternoon. So I called the nurse and I told her, I'm getting these pains. I don't know if it's normal or not. Can I get some pain pills or something? And she put the contraction machine on, and I was having contractions. At this point, things started moving very, very quickly. They got me on high blood pressure medicine that apparently stops contractions. And they gave me some kind of pill. I don't know what it was for. And they started me on steroid injections. They basically did everything they could to kind of stop me from going into full-on labor, because they said the contractions I was having were like labor contractions, even though I was not dilated and my cervix was still closed and long. So yes, that was my story. At that point, after all of that was done, I got really, really tired and quite dizzy. I assumed that my blood pressure had dropped. Oh, and they also put a drip in to try and help with the blood pressure. And then they moved me over to the normal maternity ward. Now, the normal maternity ward, even though the rooms are slightly smaller, and there are some that you share with people, I was luckily alone in a shared room. But it's better for me, or it felt better, because the nurses are wearing only masks. So it makes you feel a little bit better, as if you're not an alien. I know that, they didn't treat me bad in the suspect corona ward, as the nurse was explaining to me. But it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me because I had such a good experience at the maternity ward, and this time as well again, the nurses being very friendly, coming to check on you, speaking to you about things. The cleaners coming in every now and then to make sure that everything is clean for you. The food service, I mean, the food is the same in both wards. But, food in the normal maternity ward arrives in glass plates with normal knives and forks. Where if you are in the corona ward, which I had lunch in, it comes almost like a takeaway. So to put your mind at ease about the COVID-19 maternity ward, what they did tell me when I was there was that they do clean the rooms very, very thoroughly after that the people have been there. Everyone who had been there up until then were just suspected cases, people that had not gotten their responses of their tests or hadn't tested, like myself. And they said that everyone who had done the test had all come back negative. So it's not like they had anyone with the disease yet or with the virus yet. So it was a lot more better for me in that situation. I felt a lot better and a lot more at ease after that. And if I do end up going again, I don't think I would feel as uncomfortable as I did the first time or before, because I now know what to suspect or expect. But I still prefer the normal maternity ward. So I do hope that if I have to go again and if something does happen, which I pray it doesn't, because I still want the baby to stay until about 36 weeks at least. But if it does happen, then I at least know where to go and what to expect. So this weekend has been really, really busy. It's been the baby shower, and then today I was busy with sorting out all the baby shower stuff and recording this video and working a bit on my new products at Baby Diary Co. Yes, Baby Diary Co. has got new products which I'm developing, especially now with the new baby. I'm thinking a lot about what I would have liked to have existed and liked to have gotten for Monique, and just developing from a mom's point of view. Talk about developing. My stomach is really big. They're telling me that this baby's quite big, and this is what it looks like at the moment. Huge belly from the side, from the front. The vein I'm talking about goes all the way around, and from the other side. Pretty massive baby bump. So if you're on this journey with us, let us know in the comments down below. How far along are you? What are you expecting? How many days left for you? And what are you feeling like at the moment? Have you had any kind of baby shower? Are you also huge? Are you also having these horrible cramps, which I'm having right now? Until next time, bye!